Claressa Shields may very well be practicing witchcraft. I think we need to talk about it. It's your girl Nylah, and I'm back with another video. Welcome back to the Vibers, the Blue Heart Gang, and if you're just getting here for the first time, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, click those notification bells so that you can know every time I go live or when I do another upload, because now we are in a relationship and yeah, we got to get into this bullshit. So, a lot of people like to have conversations about how Claressa is copying everyone. And I've done content on it for several months since most of us have started to pick up on it. But I do believe that what I've noticed over the last couple of weeks, especially last night, is that it may be a lot deeper than her just copying. It may actually have a little bit more of a sinister effect that we're not paying attention to. And so let me help explain what I mean when I say that. Spectators noticed that she literally wore the same outfit as Alicia Baumgardner. And even though Claressa tries to pretend like it's not intentional, it is kind of ridiculously too close for it to be ignored. And of course, what gives us a lot of pause is that she doesn't even like Alicia. In fact, she struck her at an event recently.
With a whole different look. I had on ostrich that was custom made. And when it's custom made, you're the only motherfucker in it. So I had a custom made ostrich coat that was open in the back and open in the front. And then with the bathing suit, it's like people always looking at, like me, I actually had a Gucci bathing suit, but I wore it this morning for the real weigh-in. And then for the ceremonial, I said I didn't want to wear the same one, so I did my other one. But it was like, girl, it's mine. That damn bathing suit cost like $1,300 or something like that. But I got a bunch of stuff from that company. So I'm really confused on how somebody is copying them, and it's a whole different look.
So with everything that's been going on with Claressa, it's obvious that she is wearing outfits and styles of other people, mainly Remy, which is her boyfriend's wife, right? But it's getting a little bit deeper because it's not just her. Now, I've been noticing for a while that she's imitating other women, and off the dome, I would say it appears that she's been imitating Franchón Crews. She's been imitating Alicia Baumgardner, and even I would say the artist Khadijah, who is the daughter of the owner of the record label that she has signed her boxing career to. But I think it's deeper than that. So let me help explain something. I know most of the time you guys are used to me just talking about psychology, but if you've been following any of my channels for a while, you also know that I do a lot of conversation and topics surrounding esoteric topics and the occult, okay? And there's been a lot about Papoose alone that has kind of like really got me to thinking that he may actually be practicing some occult magic. But honestly, I think Claressa might be doing it as well, but it could be that it is something that she's doing in conjunction with Papoose. And honestly, I kind of think it might be. So what I want to do is share with you guys a video that I went over before, but I talked about it from a different perspective. When you get a chance, I need you to check it out because it's a really good video. And it also kind of speaks to the psychology of Claressa when she's out here imitating these other women. But just keep in mind that this is a video that she did over a year ago. And I want to say this was before people really started picking up on what she was actually doing when she first started getting noticed for copying Remy Ma.
I turned pro and I'm like, all right, I made my first fight $50K. My next fight after that, you know, I made $50K a couple of times. Then it went 75. Then it went 100, 125K, 150K. And I was the highest paid female boxer at that time. Then I know Layla let me know her most pay that she made was $600K. And I said, dang, if she can only make 600K, I'm probably only gonna be able to make, 3 or 4, because women's boxing was just so far behind. Even though I felt I was a great boxer, I said it's gonna take a lot to get to the millions. So I'm like, how can I get past that? So I started doing all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, what am I missing as far as in, every woman fighter or every fighter have something different that somebody else don't have. So I'm looking at, okay, why was Mia St. John so big in boxing? Why was Layla Ali so big in boxing? Why was Christy Martin so big in boxing? Why was Lucia Riker one of the big names in boxing? So I had to look at what all that they brought to the table, and I'm like, what if, in my mind, like, what if I can mix all of them together and get me? And not like they fighting style, I'm saying them as a woman. Like, what am I missing in me? Because I'm already the best fighter, so it's not like, oh, I need to fight like them. I said, what am I missing from my brand that they have in order for me to surpass them? Because I already got the skills, I got the belts, I got the accolades. So now that I'm looking at Layla and, Christy and Mia St. John, and I'm looking at all these fighters, I say, okay, boom. Layla Ali at the time, and Ann Wolf. Layla Ali at the time had the looks, and also she had her dad's name and everything, but she had the looks, she had the gift of gab, and she knocking girls out. All right, that's one thing. Okay, so let's work on that. I already had the gift of gab. I already know I was a pretty girl, so I'm like, let me tap into my beauty more, because I didn't really care about it at first. I'm like, I think I'm beautiful, and that's all that mattered to me. I didn't really care about how everybody eyes see me, right? Which I still don't, because it's like everybody's ugly to somebody and everybody's pretty to somebody. So I'm like, okay, boom. So then boom. Okay, I see, all right, she got the gift of gab, she got the looks, and she knocking girls out. Okay, let me add knockouts to my resume. Let me add the looks. Let me make sure because at first everybody was telling me not to talk trash. I said, I'm going to talk trash and I'm going to do it better because I actually like that, right? So then boom, I go and look at Mia St. John, and I honestly, I'm not trying to be funny, but to me, Mia St. John couldn't fight like that. But she had big breasts. And she was a very beautiful, pretty woman, right? With the curls and the makeup. And I said, okay. So they wasn't looking at her for her boxing. They were looking at her because she coming in there with the big knockers. But she would fight you though. She wasn't just trash. She'll fight you. What I'm saying, as far as in skill wise, she wasn't like the best skill. But she'll go in there, she'll fight you. But it's like she got these big knockers going everywhere. And then, she going in the ring with, her face and everything. Like the girl, like she's a bad, good looking woman. So I said, okay. She is selling the beauty part of it. Like, she makes sure her hair done, her makeup done, her nails done, her breast is propped up. Like, this is, you know what I'm saying? So I said, okay, let me channel that. Let me channel some of that in areas when I can without it affecting my training. So, all right, boom. And then you got Christy Martin. And y'all gonna laugh at what I'm about to say about Christy Martin, but it's gonna make y'all laugh. Christy Martin was not a pretty woman. She's actually she was very manly. I watched her documentary. I love her story on how she, escaped and, fought her husband and all this crazy stuff. And I get it. But she was just one of them women that you knew in her fight, it was going to be a dog fight. You knew she was coming with, Papoose is in Africa. You knew she was coming with the big punches and the stuff to try to knock you out. Like, she was like just rough and rugged. And when she showed up, she came in her pants and her nice little shirt. But you knew she was, she was a white woman who was like, I'm a strong, mean, badass chick, So she brought that to the table. So now that, and then also she got a storyline. Her dad was a preacher and stuff like that. So she's the coal miner. No, her dad was a coal miner. So she's the coal miner's daughter. And so I'm looking at these women and I'm like, okay, all right. So I have to figure out how to incorporate something from each of these women to where in boxing, I know my skills and I know what I can do inside the ring is easy, and I'm gonna beat all these girls, but how can I take it to the next level?
So let me just break a few things down. So there's this thing in the occult called imitative or sympathetic magic. So within this, it is simply the belief that reproducing someone's appearance, their symbols, clothing, or even their mannerisms creates a connection to their qualities or powers. As another example, her dressing for this fight, not only did she imitate Alicia, but she literally took Franchón's entire concept for her logo. Check it out. It's on the screen. Some people, we loosely label it destiny swapping because everybody's talking about it, but it's really deep, okay? Then there's this thing called glamour work. So in folk magic, influencing people, how they perceive you, beauty, magnetism, their status, desirability, or authority. And then there is symbolic appropriation. And that is where you are wearing another person's colors, logos, their hairstyle, their signature look to associate yourself with their identity. There's also channeling or embodiment. And this is where you consciously attempt to take on another person's energy, their confidence, femininity, their popularity, or just their public image. Then there is rival as target fixation. And this is becoming so focused on an opponent that the opponent's identity starts to shape your own presentation. But in psychology, the same pattern could also be explained through identity borrowing. This is something that I've talked about in several of my videos. Social comparison, envy, image competition, impression management, or even an unstable sense of self. Her statement that she channels other female boxers is literally evidence that she uses that language herself, but it doesn't necessarily prove ritual magic. But please understand that a lot of people that are practicing occult magic, or even what people commonly frame as witchcraft, they do it unconsciously. So witchcraft in the traditional sense, without getting too deep, and please, this is just rudimentary. This is not a deep conceptual analysis of what it is, but it's just the manipulation of energy, right? So when we think about it in those terms, if you are trying to manipulate, if you are lying to get someone to perceive a certain way, if you lie on another person because you don't like the way that person is and you don't like the way other people view them, and you lie or you create scenarios to change how they are viewed, that is manipulation. That's energy manipulation, right? And essentially that is basically what the craft would be. So again, everybody keeps calling her behavior copying. But if we look through this both through a psychological and spiritual lens, because Claressa has not simply just copied one outfit. She has talked about channeling other female boxers, sometimes discussing their bodies, their hair, their makeup, sex appeal, and their overall image. Then we see her repeatedly adopting that style of those women. She competes with them. Then she adopts their style. She criticizes them and appears threatened by them, but she's also copying them. So copying one outfit is not necessarily witchcraft. Wearing a similar hairstyle is not witchcraft, but when a person repeatedly adopts another woman's clothing, symbols, logos, beauty presentation, and public persona, especially while competing with that woman, the pattern becomes psychologically and symbolically interesting. In what is called sympathetic magic, imitation is believed to create resemblance and connection. So the idea is that you repeatedly mirror something, you begin to symbolically draw towards yourself. In that framework, copying someone's look could represent an attempt to absorb their personality, their popularity, their femininity, confidence, their public power, any of that. And some traditions would describe that as glamour or image-based influence, and others might call it embodiment, trying to wear the outer symbols of a person in order to gain access to what they represent. Spiritual symbolism becomes more intense when the person being copied is also a rival. If you dislike someone, but you repeatedly reproduce their appearance, that can suggest a fixation. You can literally publicly reject someone while privately studying and borrowing from them, right? And psychologically, this can happen when someone both resents and envies another person. Spiritually, some people would describe it as giving that person too much energetic attention and allowing the rival to become part of your identity. Claressa has used the word channeling herself. That is so key here because it proves occult practice. But because channeling implies more than simple fashion inspiration, it suggests entering into embodying or drawing from another person's qualities. And we have seen this with Remy. We now see it very clearly with Alicia Baumgardner, and we see it with Franchón Crews. And these are all women that she's at odds with. These are all women that she obviously, in my opinion, envies. These are women that she is threatened by, and for multiple reasons. And there is something that these women have in common. What they have in common is intact femininity. And I know that femininity is on a spectrum, but there is something magical about a woman who not only embodies her divine feminine energy, but she's grounded and rooted in it. The reason why Claressa comes off fraudulent a lot of times when she's in these spaces or she's channeling is because it's not her. It's not a part of who she is. It is literally performative. She is giving a performance of femininity. And that also is because she's channeling and it's not innate. Now, we have to be intellectually honest. We cannot prove that Claressa is casting spells or attempting a destiny swap or even performing ritual magic. Those are literally interpretations. That same behavior could come from being insecure, from rivalry, social comparison, branding, or just needing to control how people see her. And we know that that is definitely one of her issues. But when the same person repeatedly borrows the symbols of women she competes with, people are allowed to question what that behavior represents. I'm sorry. So my question is not simply, is Claressa copying? But my question is she trying to become these women? Is that what her goal is? Or is she trying to symbolically replace them?
Y'all get some great fights tonight. Now the show's here. Watch your back. The champ is here. The greatest is here.
Best ever.
Yeah, we had to go put that shit on for y'all. Sister. Scotty said she want to get in the ring with you. In Atlanta.
Okay, so there's a few things I want you to notice about this clip that you probably miss. Number one is when you are someone that is practicing any kind of occult magic, ritual work, spells, whatever you want to call it, you will have to speak affirmations over yourself. And I know that this sounds very simple and maybe just really elementary to people, but there is no spell or ritual without affirming exactly who it is that you are trying to embody or what you are trying to do. You have to say it first. So you notice how she's always saying she's the baddest, she's the prettiest, she's this, she's that, and people catch her in a lot of lies, right? She's not necessarily lying. She's affirming. She's literally doing what we call spell work. I also want you to take note of the colors, okay? Most rituals are done in red or in white or black, okay? In this case, Papoose has on red and black, and I know people are going to say this is coincidental or whatever, but we can get deeper into this a little bit later, but these are ritualistic, symbolic colors of power. And I don't doubt that at least Papoose knows exactly what's going on here. On top of that, did you hear her repeat lyrics to Remy's song, Put 'Em On? Okay, I'll go ahead and play it so that you could hear it. Me personally, I believe that everything she says, does, and wears is very intentional. There is no way she would want all this smoke and attention unless she was doing it on purpose. One last part of her ritual that I want you to take an account of is the infamous patch on her skirt that people zoomed in on and saw what it read. But before I explain that patch, let me explain something about magic and ritual work. Energy, especially the energy of people being focused or just doing anything that is related to the person or the subject matter, is one of the main sources of a ritual. You have to harvest energy for a very strong ritual, which is why a lot of people are having the understanding that when you go to certain award ceremonies, you participate in certain things. A lot of people know about energy harvesting now, and that a lot of what happens in media and in a lot of places is literally an energetic harvest for a ritual. And when it comes to this situation with Claressa Shields, I don't think that there's any exception at all. Excuse me. Now, this patch, if you zoom in on it, it says A Powerful Divorce, and it says by Claressa and Papoose. It's kind of hard to see because of the pixels, but you can go and do your research and see. I absolutely believe that she used the energy of the fight, the arena, the participants, everyone that was focused on her. She used their energy, her and Papoose both, because they are trying to do ritual spell work as it relates to this divorce. They are trying to break Remy, both literally, financially, and spiritually. And I have a few other clues of some deeper occult work that I believe that they are practicing based on things that she has said and things that I just know about. But I'm going to save that for another video. This absolutely is an affirmation and a physical attachment for what they are trying to manifest. Now, let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments. I'm so curious as to what your thoughts are. And if you like my commentary, please click like, comment, and subscribe. And if you don't like it, you can still comment, you can still subscribe, because you're bound to return and find something that will entertain you or be of intellectual benefit. And do not forget to keep those bells on so that you can come back through for our lit live streams. Ain't no live streams lit like this. I'll see you guys later.